So, Khuselwa, thank you very much for agreeing to have this particular conversations with me. So today we're going to speak about fashion and what it means to occupying fashion. Especially, I assume it's a particular gender and a particular type of race-dominated space, but it's just my assumption. But before we go into that specific conversation, would you please tell me a little bit more about yourself?
All right, so I'll start with my name. My name is Khuselwa Anita Kafu, and I'm an Afrocentric designer. And for me, it's very important to be very specific about my Afrocentrism because that's where my fashion is at. The inspirations come from African cultures, and it's an African celebration really through clothing and fabric. And I'm also a graduate from the University of the Western Cape. I am my father's favorite daughter and my sister's most annoying sister. I'm a friend. I am a Black South African woman. Yeah.
Right. So you have a very interesting outfit on today. So briefly, tell us why this outfit for today's interview, because it looks exquisite.
Thank you. Most of it comes from, these pants I'm wearing are from the South African military, right? And this jacket I made, it's part of many pieces that I've made that are connected to my love and my appreciation for the South African Army. I just find it very fashionable. And the coat is, something fancy, something cool. But basically, I've fallen in love over the years with the prints of the South African Army. And I thought, it would be really cool to create some pieces based on it. So this little jacket is actually one of the pieces that I created. And there's more, there's pants, there's skirts and all of that. I just really love the colors and also love the impact they have. Hence, it goes back to my Afrocentrism. I love that it connects to a big part of South African history even, So yeah, that's why I'm wearing this outfit today, because I'm paying homage to the South African Army.
So talking about your fashion and where did it start? Can you tell us when did you discover your love for making your own clothes?
Sure. Started a long time ago. I think the very first time I sewn something together that is wearable, I was 6 years old. The love started from sewing pieces for dolls. My mother used to work as a domestic worker, and the children of the woman she worked for would sometimes stain their Barbie dolls. Once they've stained them, they wouldn't want them, maybe on the leg or on the arm. So then my mother would be given those Barbie dolls so that she can give them to me. And growing around people that could afford new Barbie dolls, mine had stains, so I needed to hide those stains using fabric. So that's where my creativity stemmed from. And also it stems from the shift in fashion. How they introduce this, fashion piece this week, and the next week it's something completely different. So it also stemmed from that. They had been introducing a lot of fashion pieces, and my mother and father could not really keep up with the fashion trends. So then I would, edit what I already have so that it is in style with what is currently trending. So that's when it started, when I was 6 years old. And because my friends had no idea that I was doing it to hide the spots, they thought it was a fashionable thing. So they would, pay me 5 bob, to do someone else's dress and stuff. So that's where it started.
Okay. So can you still remember? So you said you start with patching it up first, but when did you make your first garment, like a full garment and for who was it?
It was back in 2015. We had been experiencing load shedding, right? And I was figuring out what can I do that is fun, that won't need electricity, because a lot of the things that we do right now either need the internet or the electricity. So I thought to myself, there's a fabric that I was gifted by a friend of mine, and I thought I've always wanted to create something, but I had that anxiety of I never had formal training, I never schooled or taken any class in fashion design. So what if I don't know how to do it? But then that day, I just decided, you know what, let me actually go to the cricket field. I went to the cricket field, I created a 2-piece. I started cutting. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I had it in my head that, it could turn out into something great or something nice. So the very first outfit I created was made by fabric from Nigeria. It was African printed. It was for me. And later on in 2016, one of my old school friends from high school was creating a profile she was studying photography. So she wanted to get, some pictures done and stuff. So she approached me and she photographed me in it.
Okay. So 2015, that is when you were at UWC. So the cricket field that you were talking about, what was it, the cricket field?
Well, the cricket field is a place where a lot happens actually at UWC. It's almost like, I don't know what to call it. It's almost like a replacement of the student center, really, because at the student center, there are activities that are done and known about the student center. That's the pool table, that's the dominoes, any other thing kind of doesn't really fall, and the cards doesn't fall within the culture of the student center. So then the cricket field is almost like an extension of the student center. So that's where most of the creatives like to go, and also other people that want to do other things. So yeah, the cricket field is a place of freedom, really, because it's green, there's trees, there's nice grass, and it's clean. And you can have a romantic picnic if you like. So it's a free space, really. So that's why it was my choice that day.
Okay. So, so when did you then realize, so after you made your first dress in 2015, and after the fashion shoot, when did you realize that you can actually make a living from your work, and how did that start?
I realized after, 2015, I was doing my final year, right? And then 2016, I was to graduate in April. But at the time, I was not really good with the crafting, but I was good at designing. So I came across an outfit online that was worn by Nomzamo Mbata. It was created by the designer Khuselwa Kafu. So I looked at it and I really liked it. But the thing about it is I wanted to put my spin to it. I wanted the same outfit, but to have my spin. So I sat down, created something, and then I gave it to someone else who was already doing this work. That was Mzuki Simbane, who is now the owner of Imprint, right? And then I was like, hey, this is what I want for my graduation. And I got the quotation and I was like, I don't think so, sir. Because also at the time, my father had just passed away, so we were really not at liberty to use a lot of money, So I approached someone else who was in Khayelitsha, LZ Designs. So I showed her this design. I said, this is what I want. And she's like, I've never done something like this. So I was like, girl, do your thing. And then I stepped aside. She did her thing. And my outfit went viral. I woke up there. I remember going to graduation. I didn't make anything out of it. Obviously, everyone gets the cheers when they are wearing their graduation outfits because it's a moment, it's a celebration, because for so many years, Black people were almost subjected to study only certain types of fields. And then now, all of a sudden, you can get into a university and choose which direction you want to go to. So now, for me, when people were screaming, it was just like another graduate. I didn't realize how big it was until the morning after. I wake up and I'm thinking to myself, what now? I thought something bad had happened because my father was buried 3 days before my graduation. So at that time, my spirit was really low. So I was thinking something else has happened, maybe in the family or whatever. So I go to my phone and I'm like, I am trending. I'm even trending on Twitter. At that time, I really did not like Twitter because of, Black Twitter and all those things. So I was surprised to be trending on a platform that I don't even exist in. I was trending on Instagram. I was trending on Facebook. That's when I realized, I was like, okay, so some people are in love with my madness. So maybe something could be built out of this. So, and also one of the things that validated my artistry and my creativity was the response from Nkosi, who was the original designer of the outfit that Nomzamo Mbatha wore. Actually, Nomzamo Mbatha went on my post and was like, this is so great, and tagged Nkosi to say, hey, come check this out. And Nkosi also checked it from their original accounts, and they were like, this is really good. So that's where it started. That's when I knew that I have something, I have a story to tell, I have something to say, and there are people who are ready to hear it.
Okay, so then that gave birth to Native Youth Couture.
Yes, that definitely gave birth to Native Youth Couture, but I didn't have an idea of opening a business and making it official until I met certain people in my life. Should I mention? So a good friend of mine at the time was like, hey, make this official, go and make it official, get it registered, so that you can be in a space where you can get work from official companies, and that's exactly what I did.
Okay, so Native Youth Couture is now one of, if you think about designing dresses at UWC,
yeah,
then there's one brand that's kind of, I think, is dominating it. So
I'm happy about.
Yeah, so why did you decide African print at first?
Okay, so it stems from my entrepreneurial spirit. Right? An entrepreneur is someone that sees a problem and then starts a business to basically solve that problem. So that's what it was for me. It's like fashion is already out there. And also, even with my original outfit for my graduation, I was like, I appreciate that I'm one of the few that got the access to education to a point that right now I'm graduating. And in doing so, I don't want to do it in the styles of people that didn't add to me being here. So I wanted it to be a nod to my culture. I wanted to be known when I step on that stage who I am. You know what I mean? So even with my fashion, I wanted it to have my print, so to speak, to have me in it. And me is an African, and me is a Black woman. You know what I mean? So hence most of my fashion, and actually 98% of it, is embedded in African cultures. It's because I wanted to represent who I am, and the problem that I was solving with my solution of Afrocentric fashion is that right now, as it is, Hollywood style of dressing is already what is out there and is already what is mainstream. When you think about people to graduation before I did what I did in 2016, you think about a dress that is similar to a prom dress that we wore in matric dance, in farewell dances. You think about dresses that are worn on red carpet in Hollywood events. So then hence I wanted to change it and say, you know what, don't take our fashion and put it to the side and reserve it for our rituals or our cultural celebration. We are here, so it should be here. So that's why African print had to be my voice.
And now you've branched out to Camo, but I see still the African print is still in it, so it's never neglected. Why the latest move to Camo?
it's not necessarily a move, but it's also just making sure that the brand relates to different kinds of people. Because there's also a problem of cultural expropriation, right? There are people that would love to celebrate the culture, but also are thinking, what would they think if I'm wearing like African print? But what's crazy about that is that when we get married as Black people, we don't think, what would they think of if I'm doing a white wedding? In fact, to us, it's like a big thing. You can't just have like a traditional wedding and not, feature the white wedding with the big white dress. And we don't see it as a problem when we actually do it. But, if people of other races try to do it or borrow from our culture, then it's like, you already took our land. Now you want to take our culture. So it's like, I wanted it to be more inclusive. And also, like I said, I want my fashion to be impactful. It has to have meaning. I mean, anyone right now, before I started actually, I had so much anxiety of starting a fashion brand because everybody was doing it. But what I noticed is that people are just buying plain t-shirts that are made in China and just slapping things on it and then call it a fashion brand. I mean, what's fashionable about that? It's just an empty... Okay, maybe to a certain extent, what they put on the t-shirt is what makes the t-shirt. But it doesn't take away the fact that anyone can do it. A soccer mom could wake up tomorrow and want to support his son and just put his son's name. Anyone can go to a place and say, hey, this is what I want printed on the t-shirt. So not so fashionable. So yeah, I wanted it to be impactful, to reach more people. And I wanted to always have a story,
Can we move to the fashion industry?
Yes.
So let's talk about the South African fashion industry.
Yes.
Particular, who dominates this space?
Right now...
In terms of gender and race, if I'm frank.
Right now, I've been lucky enough to go to the South African Fashion Week. And what I've seen happen is that basically the people that are holding the keys is white women. After white women, it's gay Black men. So it's very few Black women that are doing it and doing it big. And what's insane about it is, back in the days, the people that worked in factories, it was women who made clothes from scratch. Even right now, you could go to any township, you'll find an auntie with a machine who's well known everywhere in that township. And this auntie is really good, but those people never really get the platform. They never get, the access to where they should be playing it big. But if, for example, you were to go to a factory right now, today, you go there, you will find Black aunties, colored aunties. You will not find the people who are dominating the industry doing the dirty work, so to speak.
Okay, so if I hear you correctly, the labor and the business side is completely kind of separated in this space. So even though you have the skills, or someone in a community might have the skills, might not have the business sense.
100%.
To break into the industry. But now that you have the business sense and you've started your own brand, how has that journey been? Have you break in? How far are you in that specific journey?
I mean, I've done my fair share, and I'm still doing my fair share of trying to get in. So in one of the ways that I've done that is by attending fashion shows. So if there's a fashion show at such and such place, then what everyone does not know is that the fashion shows that we go to, you pay to be part of the people that are showing. But, you know, it's not much of a big fee if there's going to be something that comes back. But now the issues with these fashion shows is that they are for people that are all in the same levels. So there is no one that is coming from the head office of Zara or Woolworths or Mr. Price even, or The Fix, that is attending the event as a fashion buyer who will be looking at the collection and saying, actually, I like that piece, and that piece. And I would like, you know, those to be part of our summer collection or spring or whatever. So that's one of the big issues that we have, is that we do these fashion shows, but we're doing them for us, right? So it's like you're preaching to the choir. It's like women trying to do gender-based violence awarenesses. It's only them that are attending these events, which is insane, because it's not women that, you know, are responsible for it, but they're the ones that, you know, are preaching to themselves that this is what should happen. This is what should happen. So the message doesn't really get to the people that it's supposed to get to. Also, there was a campaign that was run by, I forgot the name of the company, but it went into different universities. So the campaign was basically saying, wear SA, so buy South African. So that is the biggest stage that I've had access to in terms of showing my fashion. But the problem about those stages is that all they want is to advertise their brand and what they do. They don't really care about the art or the artists or moving the art forward. Because I remember the first time I participated twice. So the first time I went, I was showing my very first collection. And mind you, this is coming from my pocket and I have to dress like 15 people and I'm a student and fabric is expensive. So my very limited resources cannot cover my very big imagination or anything. And also the people that are involving us to these things, they're not saying, okay, we're giving you 1,000 Rand or 2K for you to go and buy fabric so that you can come. You have to produce everything. That's great, no problem. But now the thing is, the fashion show happens, they have all these people from different universities. They would have UCT, CPUT, UWC, and have people from various departments. But now the issue is they just send your clothes down the runway. You don't get a moment where you get on stage and walk. It's not even about the glory. It's about putting the face to the art and telling the people, okay, so this is the person that's actually responsible for this. And this is how you can get a hold of them if you liked something on stage and you would like to buy it. So then why say wear SA and do all these big campaigns and not actually driving the people to buy SA so they can wear SA? You know what I mean? There was a store that was supposed to open from, you know, a certain institution so that they can sell our clothes. We're very excited that, oh my gosh, now we're gonna actually get an opportunity to sell our clothes in the store. So you'll create one sample piece and then it will be duplicated and then we'll see, maybe we'll get royalties from creating that. It never happened. When we went to the store, there was nothing. There was 0 items that came from the students that participated in the show that resulted to that store being open. So it's been a journey, and it's a journey that I will never give up on, because this is a story that needs to be told. Not the politics, but the story of African cultures and their beauty and their vibrancy and their colors and everything beautiful about them. So I'm not giving up. I'm still at it.
Okay, I'm glad you're not giving up. But before I move on to the next section of the interview and exiting, kind of the wrapping up the interview, I want to have your take. And this is just one of those questions I didn't give you, but I think it's important. It will be a missed opportunity if we don't speak about this. It's about commercial brands like your Didis, your Nikes, your Chanels, all of these big Gucci brands that mostly black or non-white are consuming in South Africa. Where do you think it stems from? And don't you think, to a certain extent, that is actually also contributing to killing the fashion industry, especially for up and coming artists within kind of fashion designers in the non-white community?
I think most of it stems from the urge to be part of. You know, we, okay, not all of us, but I mean, most of us want whiteness so bad that we want everything that associates us with whiteness. So, for example, like you said, we are the biggest consumers of these expensive brands. We are, because we want to be seen as part of. You know, we want to be part of. That's where the problem is. And this wanting to be part of makes us neglect who we are and make it seem like who we are just, you know, is not so great. It doesn't matter. I mean, brands like Cloete, for example, I don't think that celebrities, or let's just say celebrities and influential people, would have been consuming it as much as they do if their prices were lower. Because when you're wearing that Cloete, there's a status attached to you and to it because of that product, and because we know how much it costs, then that superiority, you know, makes you feel like you're part of. It's just chasing whiteness.
Okay.
To be quite honest.
It's quite frank. But you see, this needs to be a follow-up discussion for us in terms of the commercial brands and how it ties into identity, and how we can support the up-and-coming fashion industry much better. And I think that it's a much-needed conversation for another time. But before I let you go, I want you to tell me, what type of advice would you give people who's thinking about starting a business or starting their brand?
Okay.
Especially if it's non-white people, black and colored.
First of all, the very important question, why? Why do you want to do it? What's the point? You know, once you have defined your why you want to do it, it makes you want to fight for it even more. And the next step is, because another thing about starting a business, it's amazing to work for yourself, but sometimes it's not so amazing because business fluctuates. You know, you have a really good week and then you have a really not so good week. So then if you have a very strong why, then you can keep yourself going. And another thing is, the why also answers to what problem are you solving? Why are you starting this? Why is it important for this product of yours, or rather these services you're trying to provide to start? Because then if you're doing everything that everyone is doing, it's just going to die out in a few years, because then anyone can just do it. So if it has a good why and it's solving an important problem, then I don't see why you can't start. And also another thing is that I would say start at something that you have within you already, but obviously needs to be, improved, so to speak. And you can only improve something by doing it over and over and over again. Don't wait for perfection, because that's another thing that holds people back. I remember the first time I bought a machine, I didn't even know how to use it. I had no idea. So I went on YouTube and I learned how to, and then I used my thread, and then I started doing it, and I was making so many mistakes. I was so frustrated. I packed it all up and put it somewhere, because I was like, I'm totally not good at this. So why am I doing it? So I packed it up for 3 months straight until I had a nightmare. Well, I'll refer to it as a nightmare, but it was not too much of a bad dream. I dreamt that Rihanna was wearing a mbhaco skirt, it's a Xhosa skirt, in one of her videos. And when I woke up, I remember feeling so much sadness because I was like, how is it that... So it's possible that, you know, this fashion is going to go mainstream and I'm not going to be the one to make it happen. And when it happens, I'm going to be depressed about it. From that day, I took my machine and I was like, I'm going to learn whatever it takes. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And I never stopped ever since. I remember also one of the things that came to my mind, there's this, so I do couture work. So couture is, it's size specific and also it's requirement specific. So what I create for you will be different for somebody else because of the sizes and heights and requirements and everything. And also in terms of women want to, you know, hide certain things and also want to show off certain things. So there was this gent that came to me who had this suit that he wanted, which was inspired by his mother, who was a Sangoma. So the suit was made in leopard print. And he wanted me to make that. And I was like, are you insane? It's just not gonna look right. It's just gonna look bad. And Beyonce is King came out. And what was on the video? A suit with leopard print, exactly the one he said I should create. I wanted to cry. I was like, how dare I? So if you have ideas, run with them. Don't cancel it out without trying it out. And also, it's very important to go to places like NYDA. They offer business classes because I'm also in the process of applying for funding, but they don't give you funding unless they know for sure you'll be able to, you know, navigate around the money and everything. So they do give out courses and they give you a certificate and stuff like that. So go out there and seek information. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but it's easy, when you have more information at your disposal.
Okay. You know, you're the second person who's sitting in that chair that is saying, we have to start with your why. I asked Teppo the same question with regards to moving and success and law. I think 2 months ago, he also said, you need to know your why. And you're saying the same thing. Is that if people want to get into this industry, you need to know your why. It needs to be driven by passion. Like you said, it needs to come from the inside. Work with people. Take the ideas from them, because that crazy leopard print idea might be your ticket out the next thing. But all of that starts with your why. Khuselwa, what is next for you? What can people look forward? What is coming?
Okay, right now, recently, my friends got me to open my own online store. So I have an online store on Yaga. Like I said before about those, so what I'm doing right now, I'm selling the clothes that I was showing on those fashion shows that I've attended before. So that's what's next for me right now, is to push my online fashion store. Right now, it's delivering everywhere in South Africa. So if you go to my Instagram or my business Instagram, you will find the link. You just follow the link and just scroll through and see what you like. And also, I have an interest of opening an international store so that anyone from anywhere can actually get a bit of me, because that's the whole plan. It's to make the brand transcend borders, you know, things like that. So that is the next thing. And another thing is that I want to branch to everyday wear, because most of the clothes I create are for events. So people will holler at me and say, hey, I'm going to this place, to that place, please dress me. So now I want to also have everyday wear, so that, because I wear the stuff that I make every day, actually. I would be at, you know, a restaurant somewhere or a club, and someone would be like, did you just come back from a wedding? And that's another stereotype that I want to break when it comes to African clothes. It's not just for the events. You can just wear it every day, you know?
So, any last thoughts? Anything that I might have missed? Anything that you wanted to share?
One thing I will say, and one thing that I've found to be true, is that every single one of us in the world has a story to tell. You know, it's only a matter of time. You have a story to tell. So Elon Musk is not greater than you and I. Just that his method to his madness might be greater, but he's definitely not greater. So the little thing that you think about and you think would change the world, or even change your world or the world of the people around you, make it happen. I mean, all the ideas we have around us come from people being insane enough to believe what they have to offer is something that will be welcomed, you know, by the world. So, I mean, the world will follow later if they don't get it this year or today. So, yeah, do something, believe in yourself, and rather fail knowing that you have tried. Because if you don't even try to shoot your shots, how the hell are you going to actually achieve it? You know what I mean? So do. I don't want to use the other brands thing, but you know what they say? They say just...
Yes. All right, Khuselwa, thank you very much. Thank you very much. This was a lovely interview.
Thank you.
Until we next time, that other conversation. Until then.
Next time I'm sitting here, I'll have a lot of money.
Bye-bye.
Bye.